The scent of cinnamon rolls, warm and comforting like a promise, filled the old farmhouse kitchen as the first pale light of dawn touched the window panes. 11-year-old Leo watched his grandfather, Samuel, move with a familiar, deliberate slowness, his hands, weathered and strong from decades tending the land, carefully icing each swirl. This wasn't just any Saturday breakfast. It was the last ordinary day Leo would spend here before his family moved across the country. Tomorrow, the weight of that knowledge pressed on Leo's chest, making the sweet aroma somehow bittersweet. He traced the grain of the worn oak table, memorizing its feel, trying to anchor this moment against the tide of change rushing towards them. The silence wasn't empty. It was heavy with unspoken goodbyes and the echo of countless mornings, just like this one that would never come again. After breakfast, Samuel didn't suggest chores or errands. Instead, he led Leo out to the sprawling vegetable garden, its neat rows, bursting with late summer abundance. "Help me gather what's ripe, Leo," he said, handing him a worn wicker basket. "We'll make a feast for tonight." They worked side by side under the warming sun, the earth cool and yielding beneath their fingers. Samuel pointed out a perfectly striped cucumber hiding under broad leaves, and Leo marveled at the ruby-red tomatoes warm from the vine. Each plucked bean, each pulled carrot felt like a small ritual, a quiet celebration of the life nurtured in this soil. Leo listened intently to his grandfather's soft hum, a tuneless melody that was the soundtrack of this place, storing the sound deep within his memory alongside the scent of sun-warmed tomatoes and damp earth. As the afternoon softened into the golden hour, they carried their bounty back to the porch swing. Samuel settled with a contented sigh, the basket overflowing at his feet. Leo leaned against him, the rhythmic creak of the chains a familiar lullaby. They watched swallows dart and swoop against the painted sky, chasing invisible insects. Samuel didn't speak of the move, of the distance soon to separate them. Instead, he pointed out the way the light gilded the edge of the old oak tree, recounted a funny story about a stubborn goat from Leo's father's childhood, and talked about the constellations that would emerge later. His words painted pictures of the past and the enduring beauty of this land, wrapping Leo in a profound sense of belonging that made the impending departure ache even more sharply. Twilight deepened, painting the world in shades of lavender and charcoal. Samuel built a small fire in the stone pit near the garden's edge, the flames casting dancing shadows on their faces. They roasted ears of sweet corn, the kernels popping and hissing, filling the cooling air with a smoky perfume. Fireflies blinked on and off like tiny, scattered stars mirroring the vast canopy above. Leo watched the embers glow. "Mesmerized, Grandpa," he whispered, his voice thick. "Will it ever feel like this again?" Samuel placed a gentle hand on his grandson's shoulder, his gaze fixed on the dying fire. "Different, Leo," he said softly, the firelight reflecting in his kind eyes, "but the feeling inside you, the love you carry for this place, for the people that stays, that's your forever. We carry our homes within us, long after the doors close behind." Later, in the small, moonlit room under the eaves that had always been Leo's during visits, Samuel sat on the edge of the narrow bed. The scent of the garden still clung faintly to their clothes. Leo, tucked under the familiar quilt, felt the enormity of the day settle upon him. Samuel told no grand tale, but simply recounted small, cherished moments from Leo's summers there. The time he learned to ride the old tractor, the rainy day spent building a colossal pillow fort, the quiet pride in his first harvested squash. Each memory was a thread weaving the tapestry of their bond. Leo's eyes stung, but he fought the tears, focusing on the deep, comforting timbre of his grandfather's voice and the familiar shapes of the room in the dim light. Just as Samuel rose to leave, Leo reached out and caught his rough hand. "Grandpa?" His voice was a small, vulnerable thing in the quiet room. "Promise you won't forget today?" Samuel paused, then bent down, his silhouette large and gentle in the doorway. He placed a kiss on Leo's forehead, a gesture as old and sure as the hills surrounding the farm. Leo, he murmured, his voice thick with an emotion deeper than sorrow. This day, this feeling right here, this isn't something you forget, it becomes part of you. Like the beat of your heart, it's the last day before always, and that makes it sacred. Now sleep. My boy, carry it with you. The simple promise settled over Leo like a second quilt. Warm and weighty, Leo listened to his grandfather's footsteps retreat slowly down the stairs. Each creak of the wooden steps a familiar note in the house's nighttime song. He stared at the patterns the moonlight cast on the slanted ceiling, replaying the day in vivid flashes. The sticky cinnamon icing, the cool earth, the warmth of the fire, the steady pressure of his grandfather's hand. The sadness was still there, a deep pool within him, but now it held something else too. A profound gratitude, a fierce love solidified by the shared awareness of its preciousness. He clutched the edge of the quilt, breathing in the lingering sense of wood smoke and garden soil, holding onto the tangible remnants of this perfect, final, ordinary day. Exhaustion, emotional and physical, finally pulled his eyelids closed. The image of his grandfather's kind, firelit face, the last thing in his mind before sleep claimed him. The house settled into its own deep rest. Downstairs, Samuel sat alone in his armchair by the cold hearth, a single lamp casting a small circle of light. He held a worn photograph of Leo as a much smaller boy, grinning on the tractor. A single tear traced a path down his weathered cheek, not solely from grief, but from the overwhelming fullness of a day lived completely, consciously, lovingly. He understood the deep truth. The pain of this ending was the undeniable proof of the beauty that had filled the time before it. This last day, steeped in simple, profound presence, was a gift. It was the quiet, resonant note that would echo through the long silence of always, a foundation of love upon which all future days, however distant, would inevitably be built. The memory was already settling into his bones, a permanent warmth against the coming chill of absence.